The Republican effort to protect Donald Trump at all costs, even potentially the cost of our system of government, is in full effect. And they're willing to do anything, no matter how crazy, no matter how unprecedented, to see him return to the White House. Here's a few of their ideas.
That's why we got legislation which says no federal money can go to Fani Willis, no federal money can go to any of these rogue state prosecutors like Bragg and Willis, who are going after, using lawfare, going after their political opponents, and any special counsel that is out there who wasn't approved by the Senate should be defunded as well. That's our legislation. In addition, we've also got, you should be able to move the venue to federal court, which was legislation we passed months ago out of the committee.
So that's all crazy. I mean, that's not even the extent of it. Jordan also last week called on the Supreme Court to somehow save Trump, not on the merits of the case or anything, but to just assert that the president, at least a Republican president, can do whatever he wants. And there were multiple ideas there. Defunding state prosecutors because you don't like that they read the law accurately, charged him, convinced a grand jury, convinced a jury, and they found him guilty of the crimes because he's your guy. The fact that you don't like that, okay, I get not liking it. I don't get defunding the prosecution and focusing on how they're using lawfare against their political opponents. Hunter Biden is on trial right now. Jim Jordan doesn't have much to say in defense of the family member of the president. It seems almost like hypocrisy.
Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the damage report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you.
But did you notice the most clownish thing that he suggested there? It was at the end, and it's this: conservatives want a floor vote on a bill that would allow current or former presidents to move any state case brought against them, such as the one in New York that resulted in Trump's conviction, to federal court, according to multiple House Republicans. And I think we all understand what this is about, because if they move it to federal court, and if you become president, then you can just, and it's gone. And there's no charges anymore. Damn the federalism that they've been such fans of over the past few years. States' rights, but not in this arena, I suppose. So not only would this protect him in New York, but it would also protect him in Georgia, the Fani Willis prosecution. If any of the fake elector schemes in Michigan or Pennsylvania or Arizona go to a full trial, and at the very least, the Arizona one seems like it's going to, then again, he could snap his fingers and that's done. Again, who cares about states' rights? Who cares about the law? Who cares about the Constitution? They want their guy back in the White House. And what do you think about it, Sharon?
I think it's so nutty that it almost makes the call sound perfect and beautiful and lock her up reasonable. They'll just be so transparent about what they're seeking here. One set of rules for that guy with the orange shoe, and another set of rules for the other guy who rides his bike and supports his son through difficulties that a lot of Americans have faced. I think that they have no shame, but each day they one up themselves. I actually do think the call was perfect now.
Yeah. Look, they have to, both because they do want to accomplish this, but also whether they accomplish it or not, they have to show their deference. They have to bow down, and the person who bows the deepest and the longest wins the day, I suppose. In any event, the fact that they're proposing it is crazy, but I don't want people to freak out just yet, because Donald Trump does not have the sort of unified unilateral control over government that he obviously thirsts for. And even a House Republican close to Mike Johnson says that a floor vote on the bill is unlikely at the moment. And even if it did come to a floor vote, not all Republicans are even on board, at least as of right now. Representative Mike Garcia of California told Axios that he's, quote, not a big fan of changing jurisdictions of cases through federal legislation. And Representative Nick LaLota of New York said Congress has to respect federalism. So hey, there's at least one Republican who is holding up that is a principle of theirs or whatever. Interestingly, both of those districts are ones that Joe Biden won in 2020. So a little bit of political pragmatism here. They're worried that if they totally subvert the law to protect one man in particular, that they might lose their positions. And by the way, even if they were to pass it in the House, the Senate is not gonna approve this. And I have a feeling Joe Biden wouldn't sign it, although he's being really hands-off with Donald Trump. Are we sure that he wouldn't sign it? And after all, remember, Jim Jordan's talking about the lawfare of the left. But he also is totally cool with all the threats that everyone on the right is making on a daily basis, that they're gonna do this exact same thing to the Democrats, including Joe Biden. Maybe for Joe Biden, it would be pragmatic to pass this, but I don't think it's going to happen. And also, before we move on, I also want to be clear, this isn't going to pass. They're not going to get it, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things that they can do to screw over the American people as part of their hissy fit over supporting Donald Trump. One GOP senator aims to block floor action over the Trump conviction, and other Republicans have signed on to it in this open letter. And you see that and you think, wait, what floor action? All of it. Everything. They don't want anything to happen in government because of the Trump conviction. Now, they haven't pulled the trigger on this yet, but it's something that they're considering, just trying to effectively end governance in the United States as a protest for the fact that Donald Trump, who definitely committed this crime and a jury convicted him, could suffer some sort of consequences, which probably won't amount to much more than a slap on the wrist. Any other thoughts, Sharon?
Well, they're the party, they get an A+ in stalemate and delay and do nothing, okay, except insult people and throw all decorum out the window. I used to think, well, there's a bunch of clowns in Washington who don't do much for all of us, but this party has taken it to new heights. So my final thought would be that they'll just continue this, and maybe old folks, seniors won't get their checks, and people won't get to eat, and there'll be furloughs and everything else. And it's something we've been through, but perhaps not at this level.
Yeah. And look, there's like 3 levels that should feel like that could theoretically have the responsibility for this put on them. Donald Trump at the very top has taken over the Republican Party, has taken over. Like you can't, again, if something bad happens to him, that's the only thing that matters in America.
Yeah.
That's self-interested. I can only be so angry at him. This is who he is. We always knew that. The Republicans, like Jim Jordan, the politicucks or whatever, like they see their future evaporating if Donald Trump doesn't like them or doesn't win. So I can't be that mad at them. They were never principled. It's not like this is that different than how they always are. No, it's the voters. It's the voters that are okay with this. All these people who actually are suffering from economic troubles, housing troubles, health insurance troubles, all those things that are okay with governance being distilled down to just what can we do to help Donald Trump, who's a literal billionaire, and they're okay with it. If they were to shut things down, would that help them in November 5th? No, I don't think so. I don't think the independents would be interested. But I don't think that the Republicans would be mad, and that's sick. It's just sick. And we can't heal them, okay, from the outside. They won't let it. We also can't literally heal them if they get sick because they don't believe in medicine anymore. They have to heal themselves. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.